Hey everybody, this is David Britt, your leader over the next 7 weeks in servant leadership, welcoming you to the course. About half of you are brand new students, and the other half are students who've had me in a course before. Many of you who've had me in a course before are just finishing up with MSOM 601, so welcome again. As those who've had me in class before know, I am a travel fanatic. And so I travel all around the world and do a lot of my videos and communication directly from wherever I am in the world at that point in time. Today, I am in Singapore. Singapore is a city and a country, and just an absolutely lovely place. Probably, I think it's the second densest city in the world, and but you wouldn't know it from what they try to do here. For those of you who are reconnecting from the existing course 601. You know, the last time I chatted with you, I was in the jungles of Thailand, but today in the urban jungle of Singapore. I'm here at a place today called Garden by the Bay, and Singapore is doing a really great job of connecting people in this very congested area with nature, and so they have gardens throughout the city. They actually only produce about 4% of all of the food resources they need. They have to import the other 96%, and so what they've been trying to do is find ways to do more food production here. And interestingly enough, I was at a place today where what they're doing is they're creating skyscrapers that are greenhouses. And so they have 30 floors of greenhouses that rotate, catch sunlight because it's an all-glass building, but they also get water that's reusable, and so really an incredibly creative thing. So that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about servant leadership and to welcome you to the course. And I'm going to talk in a couple of different frames here. For those of you who are brand new in the course, you're going to be getting an email from me that'll be general to the class, but I want to arrange about an hour of your time to talk to you on the phone and hopefully explain a lot of the different nuances of the course to help you navigate the online platform. I find that about half of the new students in this degree program have never had an online class before. And so my goal in this is to make sure that the online class becomes as easy as email is for you. And so I'll give you some dates that we can meet. It'll be the first week of the course coming up, so as soon as you get those, please send me 2 or 3 different times when we can connect. Sometimes I'll have to connect via Skype, but when you do connect with me, I want to make sure that you're on your computer, because I'll walk you through the different areas of the course and hopefully answer a lot of your questions before you have them. Students in the past have found this time to be incredibly valuable, so please make sure that you take me up on that offer. This course is, for those of you who've had the courses before, it's very similar to 601. You have a course project. The course project is divided into 3 parts. It's the same type of format as I mentioned earlier in 601. It's a cumulative course project, so you'll do an outline in the first course project. You'll do your narrative in the second part of the course project. I'll grade that. I'll give you my pointers. I'll give you some ideas on how to improve it. You can improve those. And then submit part 3 with the improved version that I've talked to you about. And so that way it gives you the benefit of hearing some of my thoughts before the last week. As I mentioned to many students before, the reason I do that, I had a professor one time, and most of the professors, when you have a course project, assign the course project the first day of the class, and they say, good luck, I'll turn it in the last day of class, and they never talk to you again. And so my goal in doing this is to make sure that you and I have a dialogue through this, and you can see my comments written. You can hear them verbally as we go forward in that. The other thing I want to talk to you about is underneath the course home in the course there are several tutorials, and this will be very beneficial for those of you who are new to the class. I want to make sure that you, before we have our talk, that you go through those course tutorials. What I've tried to do is break down the barriers on course navigation. There's one on how to conduct peer-reviewed research at the CSU Online Library. There's one on the course project. Again, as I mentioned, there's one on course navigation. And so I would encourage you to watch those videos. Again, they're not going to answer all your questions, but I put those together because I had some students one time who were international students and we were unable to connect over the phone. And so what I wanted to do is provide tutorials just in case we were unable to connect. So under Course Home, once you get into the course, make sure that you take a look at those. The other thing I wanted to stress for you is under the announcements portion of the course. I don't like to send emails. I'll send some at the start of the course, but as we go forward, I'll do most of my general communication to you via the announcement page, and that you'll see right as you log into the course. So every time that you log into the course, what I'd encourage you to do is to look at those announcements and make sure that there aren't any new announcements that you haven't seen since the last time that we logged into the course. And so that way we'll make sure that we keep fresh, you keep up to date. This also, the announcements where I'll post a weekly video, and the weekly video will be shot wherever I am in the world at that time. Again, I just finished up in several places in Thailand, in Singapore today. A couple days I'll be in Hong Kong. For those of you who may remember, I was in Hong Kong a little while back. Be in Hong Kong, then in Thailand and Vietnam, and so I'll be shooting these videos each week from those areas. And what the videos really are about is I review the prior week's lesson and give you my thoughts, my opinions, a few extra tips on what we just studied. And then we'll talk about preview. We'll take a look at the upcoming lesson and see some of the tips I can give you to make sure that you're focused on the right things going forward. I also have a couple of special videos that I'll probably do throughout. One that'll be after I get your first submission on the course project. I normally give a video just specifically on the course project so that you'll be able to look at those and include those comments in your paper. Okay? And so that is the course project. Those are the videos. The one thing that you'll notice about this course, I want to make sure that everybody is fully aware of this, is that anytime that you write a paper for me, the paper needs to be in paper format. It needs to be in APA format. And so that means it has a cover page, it has an introduction with introduction section, it has body headings with content under each one of the headings, it has a conclusion, and it has a reference section, which is on a separate page, to highlight all the references that you use in the course. This is really, really important, and make sure that you do that on all of those case studies that you'll do in particular in this course. Now, this course has some unique elements of it too. It has something called memo exercises, and this degree program we really tried to focus on application. And so what you will be doing in these memo exercises is acting like you are the head of a company or head of a department, and you will be communicating via interoffice memos to your employees, talking to them about servant leadership. And you're going to be talking about servant leadership in 3 different areas. The first memo that you will send out to them will be why. Well, why is the company moving to a servant leadership model? The second memo that you will send out will be, well, actually the first one's what. What is servant leadership? You have to define that for people so they understand that. The second one is why. Sorry about that, I got them backwards. Is why. Why are we moving to servant leadership? I mean, hasn't what we've been doing worked up until this point? So you need to explain to them why you're moving to servant leadership. And then finally, what's in it for them? How is this going to benefit them? I've found that as I've worked with companies over the last 20 years or so, in any type of change management model, what you do is, in change management, you talk about what? Well, what is the change? Why? Why are we changing? And then thirdly, what's in it for me? Because if you never apply that to people, then chances are they're going to look at it and just half-heartedly embrace it, and that's not what you're looking for. And so memo exercises will be really kind of fun because you get to put them in your own words. They don't have to have peer-reviewed resources. It's just like the inter-office memos that you get at your office. And so I've placed a sample inter-office memo. You can use whatever you want for those, and so that'll be good. The course project, I want to bounce back to that for a second. The course project in this course will be, you will be developing a servant leadership model for a company that you choose. Many times students will choose the company that they currently work for, and that's perfectly okay. The one thing that I would like to do is I would like you to have some knowledge of the company that you pick, because I found that if you have knowledge of companies that you pick, the likelihood of application is much greater. And so that's up to you. So that's the course project, that's memo exercises. So that's just a general introduction to the course. Let's talk about Lesson 1 for a second. Lesson 1 has 2 discussion boards, and it has a case study that's all about you. Let's talk about the first discussion board question. The first discussion board question is simply an introduction. I like to make sure that you're very detailed in your introduction. I do that for a couple reasons. One, since this is an applied degree program, I really like to get to know you. And it helps me help you if I know more about you. It also helps other students get to know you better because in many instances you'll have similar classes over the next few months with them. And the better they get to know you, the better that perhaps you can help each other going forward, not only in your academic pursuits, but maybe your personal and professional pursuits as well. And so the first discussion is an introduction. As you recall, all introductions need to have, all discussion boards need to have 1 initial post and need to have 2 substantive response posts to other students in the course. The second discussion question is an interesting one, and I like this one. You're going to see a video by a gentleman named Drew Dudley. Drew Dudley talks about lollipop moments. And before we talk and go into detail about servant leadership, I think it's important for you to understand what your view of leadership is. Because before we put that word servant in front of leadership, you need to have some grasp of what you believe leadership is all about. And this video from Drew Dudley, I think, may turn some of your ideas upside down on that. And one of the things, again, if you've never had me in a class before, I kind of like to take the contra view on things. So if somebody says something's white, I'll say it's black and make them prove it to me. It used to drive my parents crazy when I did that, but that's just sort of the way I roll. So that's discussion question 2 on lollipop moments from Drew Dudley. And then finally, the case study today starts with a case study about you. Again, for those of you who've had me in a class before, you know that I start every class by a personal assessment. And so you will go to an outside source and you will take an assessment. And on this one, it's really a morals assessment. It talks about the way that you approach morality, the way that you approach different things. And again, this just isn't to say, hey, you're right or wrong. It's to see the lens through which you're going to view, potentially, leadership. Because your moral compass and the different things that you find going forward plays an important role in how you not only view yourself, but how you view leaders and other people in organizations. And so, I've said this before, but I operate under the assumption that if all we do in higher education is fill your head full of facts, figures, knowledge, and theories, and we don't teach you anything about yourself, then we failed. And so what I try to do through every class that I teach is to help people begin to understand not only the theory, not only the components behind all of those things, but to get a glimpse into themselves, get a look at their soul, get a look at the idea of how they view different particular topics. So this is a moral compass assessment that you will take, submit it to me, and do it in a paper format, again, with cover page, introduction, body headings, conclusion, references if you use them on this one. You can be as open as you feel comfortable being. I do not share this information with anyone, so feel comfort in that. Okay? So that's lesson 1 and a little bit of an overview. Sorry, these videos normally aren't this long, but I had to accomplish a couple of different things with them. They're normally 5 or 6 minutes or so. Again, existing students who we've been in class before, welcome back. I'm glad you've decided to stick another class out with me. And then for the brand new students, make sure when you get that email that you bounce me back with some times where we can connect the first week of class, and hopefully that will help answer some of the questions. Again, I would encourage you, before we talk on the phone, new students, make sure that you've gone through those tutorials, because it'll make our time much richer as we go forward. By the way, that building is behind me. Let me dodge out of the way for a second. It's the Sands Casino here in Singapore. What it is 3 unique buildings that look like waves, and on top of it is what looks like a big surfboard. But it is absolutely stunning, spectacular here. If you ever get a chance to come to Singapore, please do come. All right? Again, tickled to have you over the next 7 weeks, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care.